Namaskar, I am Professor Parthopratim Chakrabarty from Department of Geology, University of Delhi. I welcome you to an episode that deals with fundamentals of carbonate. After studying this module, you shall be able to understand fundamental controls on carbonate precipitation in seawater, temperature, salinity and density variation in ocean water column with depth and their effects on carbonate precipitation. Learn about different carbonate minerals, cation substitution within carbonate minerals and relative stability of different carbonate polymorphs. You will also be able to know classification schemes of carbonates and necessity of keeping more than one classification scheme in literature. Now, we will introduce you to the carbonate sediment accumulate, how it accumulates. Carbonate sediments accumulate where waters are supersaturated with respect to calcium carbonate and siliciclastic input is very low. Although most ocean bound carbonate sediments are also found in riverine, lacustrine, cavernous environments as well as around springs and within soils. Precipitation and dissolution of carbonates is controlled by the equations as is given below. Now, decreasing temperature, increasing hydrostatic pressure and dissolution, all these affect these equations. Now, calcium carbonate that reacts with carbon dioxide plus water, you can see that forms the calcium ion that is liberated and the bicarbonates are formed. So, this is a bidirectional reaction which causes the precipitation of carbonate and which is a function of increasing temperature, decreasing hydrostatic pressure. Now, if the above reaction proceeds towards right, that is both carbon dioxide and calcium carbonate get dissolved, and reverse is true when the reaction proceeds towards left, that is carbonate will be precipitated with removal of CO2. This classic reversible carbonate reaction includes several chemical equilibria in relation to input and extraction of carbon dioxide vis-a-vis its role in dissolution and precipitation of carbonate sediments in water. So, this is the fundamental reaction, that is water and carbon dioxide reacts to form H2CO3. This is a slow hydration reaction and followed by the dissociation of H2CO3 into H plus and HCO3 minus. The HCO3 minus that further dissociates into hydrogen and carbonate. So, at the interface between water and solid calcium carbonate, the equilibrium is that calcium carbonate that is dissociated into calcium and carbonate. The principal control on all these reactions is the addition or removal of carbon dioxide. Addition of carbon dioxide results in release of more hydrogen and thereby makes the water column acidic. Carbonates go into dissolution. If carbon dioxide is driven off, then reversal of the reaction encourage precipitation of carbonate. Two major controls of carbon dioxide pressure in water are temperature and pressure. Now, with increase in temperature, carbon dioxide bubbles up, escape from the water column and help in precipitation of carbonate. Conversely, decrease in temperature can hold more carbon dioxide in water column and trigger carbonate dissolution by retrograde solubility. Thus, precipitation of carbonates is most favored in tropical areas, that is between 30° north and south of equator, where surface water temperature may reach about 30° centigrade or more. Water holds more carbon dioxide with increase in pressure and promotes carbonate dissolution, whereas decrease in pressure allows escape of carbon dioxide from the water column and encourage precipitation. One spectacular example of control of pressure can be seen in springs, where rapid degassing from immersed water with drop in pressure and temperature promote precipitation of varied carbonate minerals. In case of caves, such rapid precipitation of carbonates on cave roof or floor give rise to the development of what we call speleothems, that is stalactite, stalagmite, etc. Besides, shallow marine phototrophic or photosynthetic organisms, that is cyanobacteria, green algae, etc., also can induce carbonate precipitation by removing carbon dioxide from water column through the process what we call photosynthesis. In addition to the controls already discussed, salinity and ionic strength of seawater also play major role in solubility of carbonate minerals. Solubility of carbonate minerals increase with increase in salinity of seawater, that is increase in the concentration of other ions such as magnesium, etc. Increase of foreign ions interferes in the precipitation or growth of carbonate minerals. So, aragonite or calcite and increase the solubility of carbonate minerals manifold. This is the reason behind higher magnitude of carbonate solubility in seawater than in fresh water. Now, we come to the concept that how important is inorganic carbonate precipitation in open sea. Now, near surface seawater is 6 times oversaturated with respect to calcite and 4 times oversaturated with respect to aragonite. This very fact suggests reluctance in precipitation of calcium carbonate minerals and gave generation of strong debate among workers about the role of inorganic precipitation in open ocean condition. Questions were raised about role of carbon dioxide loss as a major driver for carbonate precipitation in open marine condition. Supporters of inorganic precipitation theory cited example of formation of whitings, that is dense concentration of suspended aragonite crystals in milky patches of surface and near surface water of Bahamas, Persian Gulf or in Dead Sea as a proof for inorganic precipitation in ocean water column. These aragonite crystals are described as spontaneous nucleation of aragonite crystals from seawater supersaturated with calcium carbonate. However, this view was challenged by another school with the logic that aragonitic mud responsible for making whitings are not products of spontaneous crystallization, but they are resuspended mud from shallow sea either by wave action or by stirring up action of bottom feeding fish. A third view also exists which says that essentially propounded by Robin and the Blackwelder is 1992, that says or highlights the role of small algal phytoplanktons in nucleation of carbonate crystals from seawater supersaturated with CaCO3. According to these workers, photosynthetic removal of carbon dioxide from water column by phytoplanktons possible induce carbonate precipitation in microdomain and that finally result in formation of whitings. Hence, according to this model, phytoplankton bloom in surface water of Persian Gulf is responsible for direct nucleation of calcium carbonate with lower carbon dioxide in water column, but the same logic cannot be applied in Bahamas as aragonite crystals in the whitings there are unlike aragonite crystals secreted by calcareous algae. So, opinions vary amongst workers regarding role of pure inorganic precipitation in carbonate sediment production. A large number of workers favored the model of biologically mediated inorganic precipitation as major reason behind carbonate production. Now, we come to carbonate mineralogy. There are 6 polymorphs of calcium carbonate in nature, both anhydrous and hydrous in character. That is calcite CaCO3, this is hexagonal in structure, aragonite also composition CaCO3, but orthorhombic in structure, vaterite CaCO3, but hexagonal in structure, ekaite that is CaCO3 and the structure bound water and monoclinic in structure, calcium carbonate monohydrate that is calcium carbonate and H2O combined, and amorphous calcium carbonate that is CaCO3 in water. Amongst these 2 anhydrous forms, that is calcite and aragonite, dominate the organic and inorganic components of carbonate rocks, and hence our discussion on carbonate mineralogy will revolve around these 2 minerals as is discussed in the figure. Now, this figure shows atomic structure of calcium carbonate polymorphs. You can see the hexagonal calcite, high Mg calcite and orthorhombic aragonite. The reason behind occurrence of calcium carbonate in two different structural forms, that is hexagonal, which is a calcite, and orthorhombic, that is aragonite, is the ionic radius of calcium, that is 0.9 angstrom. While hexagonal crystals with 6-fold metal carbonate coordination is favored by cations less than 0.99 angstrom in size, the orthorhombic crystals with 9-fold coordination favors cations with more than 0.99 angstrom size. Calcium with ionic size about 0.98 angstrom, that is very close to 0.99 angstrom, assumes both the structures with very little change in chemical kinetics, which is discussed in this figure. However, cations with same charge and size, that is the 0.99 angstrom less than, that is magnesium, it goes into the MgCO3, iron, that goes to siderite, that is FeCO3, and replace calcium in calcium in the calcite hexagonal structure, and cations with same charge and size more than 0.99 angstrom, they replace the strontium, that SrCO3, the lead which is called cerussite PbCO3, barium that is called witherite BaCO3, they replace calcium in the aragonite, that is the orthorhombic structure. Although thermodynamically calcite is the most stable phase, that is expected to be precipitated both in sea water and fresh water, we get aragonite as the most common calcium carbonate phase in the modern carbonate sediments. Now, the figure also shows the ionic radius of cations hosted in the carbonate minerals. The cations, that is less than 0.99 angstrom ionic radius, they enter in hexagonal structure, whereas those with ionic radius more than 0.99 structure goes to orthorhombic structure. Calcium, as I said earlier also, with 0.98 angstrom ionic radius can assume both the structures. This happens because in sea water magnesium is to calcium ratio is 3:1 and Mg has smaller ionic radius than calcium, but the strong tendency of magnesium to get bonded with OH radical does not make it available for carbonate, that is calcite structure. Instead, the mineral aragonite that does not accommodate much of magnesium in its lattice structure is favored, and many plants and animals from their calcareous skeletons by aragonite through biased metabolic processes defying thermodynamic rules. In addition to above discussed polymorphs of calcium carbonate, the calcite and aragonite, that is another mineral commonly found in carbonate sediments, that is high Mg calcite. In fact, on the basis of magnesium content, calcites are classified as low, that is up to 4 mole percent Mg, intermediate, that is 4 to 12 mole percent Mg, and high Mg, that is 12 to 18 mole percent Mg. Dehydration of magnesium ions make magnesium available for incorporation within the calcite structure in variable amount, and inclusion of Mg in calcite structure cause distortion in its unit cell. Presence of high Mg calcite is noticed in both skeletal and non-skeletal carbonate grains, which is having up to 43 mole percent of Mg is reported from echinoid teeth. In non-skeletal carbonates, degree of Mg entry in calcite structure depends on precipitation rate, which in turn depends on temperature. Now, we will discuss how soluble are carbonate minerals. Calcite solubility is a function of its Mg content. With more amount of Mg entry in calcite structure, there is more distortion in the lattice structure, which progressively cause calcite structure more structurally unstable. Most stable carbonate mineral phase is low magnesium calcite. The solubility of aragonite is distilled in distilled water is same with high Mg calcite, having 12 mole percent of Mg. High Mg calcite with more than 12 mole percent Mg is more soluble than aragonite, which is discussed in this figure. Dolomite is least soluble among all carbonates. So, this figure shows relative solubility of calcite in fresh water with increasing Mg content. Aragonite has nearly same solubility with 12 mole percent of MgCO3 calcite. Now, we will discuss the carbonate factory and the constitution of carbonate sediments. Now, the term carbonate factory can be defined as a depositional system where production and early modification of carbonate sediments takes place. It is a delicately balanced biological chemical system and responsive to surrounding environment, which is discussed in this text. Both biological and chemical precipitation produces chemical sediments in form of carbonate crystals, particles and cement. Oceanic carbonate production is both in form of benthic or pelagic. Benthic production accumulates in place or may get reworked by wave or current and supplied both onshore and offshore in lagoonal, intertidal, lacustrine, subtidal or reef environments. Pelagic carbonates dominated in post-Jurassic deep sea form mostly in near surface ocean water column, fine grained in character and essentially constituted of calcareous phytoplanktons, that is plants, and zooplanktons, that is animals. Now, control of surrounding environment on carbonate production, that is the major environmental control on carbonate production include light penetration, salinity, dissolved oxygen in ocean column, nutrient supply, water temperature and suspended sediment content in the water column. Besides these autogenic controls, allogenic controls such as celestial mechanics, the plate tectonics also play role on carbonate production in the carbonate factory. The most significant among these is the autogenic controls is the light penetration. Commonly in ocean column, light penetrates around 70 meter water depth, that is maximum this penetration can go up to 100 meter, which is referred as the photic zone. However, factors that is siliciclastic input, upwelling and surface productivity also can cause reduction in the light penetration. Depending on degree of light penetration, the ocean water column is classified as the euphotic zone, that is the shallow water where sufficient light penetration promote photosynthetic action to operate freely and allow corals and the other green algae to thrive. Then the oligotrophic zone, that is the zone of less light with domination of large foraminifera and red algae. And number 3, the aphotic zone, that is the zone where any light with prolific growth of bryozoan, mollusks, crinoids and sponges. In tropical seas, the carbonate production is maximum within 15 to 20 meter water depth, where sea water condition is favorable both in terms of illumination and temperature. Now, this figure shows the depth-wise variation in carbonate sediment production, light penetration and variation in sediment producing organisms. Maximum marine biota proliferate between 30 to 40% salinity. High salinity value is equally detrimental as low salinity for biotic growth. While invertebrates disappear above 40 degree salinity, calcareous algae can survive marginally above 40 degree salinity. In particular, crinoids are very sensitive to salinity and commonly considered as marker for normal salinity. Now, this is discussed in the figure, and this availability of nutrients is mandatory for any biotic growth. The list of bioessential elements that include the phosphorus and nitrogen, iron, molybdenum and silica, which are supplied to ocean by continental weathering. By common logic, it can be assumed that there will be high carbonate production in oceanic areas where high nutrient supply, which in reality is always not so. This mismatch is referred to as nutrient paradox in carbonate literature. In fact, high nutrient supply increases water turbidity, which in turn reduces light penetration and carbonate production. Now, oligotrophic regions where organisms consume all bioessential elements present in water column are blue and crystal clear, and hence are the regions of the maximum water production. Now, this is discussed in the two figures, that is figure A and B. In the figure A, latitudinal change in the carbonate constitution from tropical to temperate regions is shown. In the B figure, their respective salinity tolerance limits with thickness of lines indicating relative abundance. Now, well oxygenated water is essential for growth of any skeletal invertebrate. High nutrient supply or salinity rise can increase primary productivity, which in turn result in a copious dead and decaying phytoplanktons on the sea floor. Those consume dissolved oxygen in the water column. Like light penetration, water temperature also plays a fundamental role on carbonate production. As discussed, rate of carbonate reactions increase exponentially with increase in temperature, and hence biochemical reactions leading to carbonate production become more rapid in warm water. This is why best of carbonate production is recorded in tropical, that is to more than 20 degrees centigrade, about 30 degree north to 30 degree south latitude. Seas compared to temperate, that is 10 to 20 degrees centigrade, and polar, that is less than 10 degrees centigrade seas. Also, there is a clear stratification in open ocean water column in terms of temperature distribution. The stratification is most pronounced in tropical seas and gradually gets blurred out in medium to high latitude. The rapid depth related decrease in temperature, which we call the thermocline, and salinity, which we call the halocline, in combination result in depth related increase in water density, that is pycnocline. In the figure, it is shown that all these changes. All carbonate producers thrive in shallow tropical seas, whereas the number of producers reduce in temperate or polar sea as well as with depth in ocean. The one tropical association includes skeletal components, that is corals, calcareous algae and non-skeletal ooids, is referred as chlorozoan association. Chloroalgal if domination of green algae only in high salinity areas, whereas foramol association refers to cooler water temperature condition and their carbonates dominated by benthic foraminifers and mollusks. Now, in this figure, temperature, salinity, density changes in ocean water column with depth is shown. Now, constitution of carbonate sediment. Carbonate sediments or its lithified counterpart, that is a carbonate rock, is made up of both allochemical, that is derived, and orthochemical, that is in situ constituents. Allochemical constituents may be either skeletal or non-skeletal in character. The skeletal constituents include either whole or broken pieces of hard body parts of calcareous organisms. Mineralogically, the hard parts of organisms are either low magnesium calcite or high magnesium calcite or aragonite, or a combination of these minerals. In size, the skeletal components can be as many as tiny foraminifers to as large as that of a coral, that is 2 to 3 meter in diameter, reserved or preserved intact. A fundamental difference between a carbonate and a siliciclastic particle is that a carbonate particle primarily reflects skeletal architecture, whereas a siliciclastic particle talks about hydrodynamic condition. Amongst carbonate forming organisms, mollusks, that is bivalves, gastropods, cephalopods are major contributor since Cambrian time. While bivalves, except for oysters and scallops which are calcitic, are mostly aragonitic, gastropods have calcitic and aragonite layered structure, and cephalopods, modern nautiloids and coiled chambered ammonites have layered shell structure like other mollusks. It needs a special mention about belemnites, the cephalopod that infested the Mesozoic Sea and had a characteristic cigar shape made up of the fibrous calcite. Besides mollusks, other major skeletal contributors include brachiopods, echinoids, crinoids, foraminifera, corals, bryozoa and sponges. Brachiopods made up of low magnesium calcite in two layered structure are common in Paleozoic and Mesozoic carbonates. One common observation in Paleozoic carbonates is the presence of trilobites, exoskeleton of arthropod made up of calcite prisms, echinoids and crinoids construct their hard part with whole low magnesium calcite crystals. Foraminifers, both planktonic and benthic single-celled organisms, have hard parts made up of high or low magnesium calcite and constitute bulk of modern or ancient carbonate sediments. Colonial organisms, those contribute large way in carbonate sediments, include corals, bryozoa and sponges. Amongst carbonate forming plant, algae and microbial organisms are most important contributors for fine grained carbonates. Red algae, that is coralline algae, green algae, nanoplanktons, coccoliths are important constituents of pelagic limestones. Cyanobacteria, classified as algae, form mats called microbial mats and assume different structure, that is domal, spherical, columnar, etc., known as stromatolites and common in Precambrian limestones. Now, this figure shows a stain, that is potassium ferricyanide and alizarin red staining of biomicrite. You can note a large number of fossil fragments present as allochemical constituent within this rock. Now, non-skeletal allochems include ooids and pisoids, peloids and pellets, intraclass and aggregates. Ooids, commonly less than 2 millimeter in diameter, that is shown in the figure, and pisoids, that is more than 2 millimeter in diameter, are spherical to subspherical in geometry, also known as coated grains, have nucleus surrounded by laminated cortex. Nucleus can be of any composition and cortex is made up of either tangentially arranged aragonite crystals or radially arranged calcite, generally high Mg crystals. Shallow, that is less than 6 meter in depth, high energy, constantly agitating warm sea water condition is most favorable for ooid formation. Now, in this figure the coated grain ooids are shown. Also you can note the composite ooid with coating encircling more than one ooid. Peloids and their biogenic counterpart pellets are ovoid in to spherical in shape and constituted of microcrystalline carbonate, which is shown in the figure. While peloids are sand sized particles internally microcrystalline and of inorganic origin, that is diagenetic alteration of biofragments, ooids, etc., or Mg calcite, spontaneous precipitation, pellets are fecal in origin and excreted by mud ingesting organisms as sand sized particles. Distinction between peloids and pellets can be made from observations like, unlike peloid grains which may be of any size, pellets commonly are well sorted for a single organic population, and the definite presence of organic matter is observed in pellets which may not be common in the peloids. Now, this figure shows a limestone with profusely present peloids. Now, lithic class commonly in a depositional basin and deposited within the basin are referred to as the intraclast. This is in contrast to the lithic class which gets supplied in a basin from outside and referred to as extraclass. In a carbonate depositing basin, intraclasts are formed by high energy flows or events, that is storm wave, strong tidal current in tidal channel, or with channel avulsion or basin seismicity which may break up partly or completely lithified basin floor. Now, strong erosion of lithified mudstone also generate intraclast and commonly referred to as rip-up mudclast. Rip-up clasts are typically disc shaped with their length and width greater than thickness. Aggregate grains are composed of biofragments, ooids and peloids or pellets bound together by biofilms or cemented together by aragonite or Mg calcite cement. Now, this figure shows intraclast, that is carbonate lithic clast formed within a depositional basin. Orthochemical component, that is carbonate mud. Now, we will discuss that. That is, it is microcrystalline 1 to 4 micrometer in size, calcite or aragonite, referred to as micrite, represent carbonate mud and referred to as orthochemical component in carbonate sediment. Formed by means of organic or inorganic precipitation or by biological abrasion, micrites are classified as either allomicrite or orthomicrite. Allomicrites are micrite carbonate formed by precipitation in water column around a carbonate crystal and its subsequent fallout, that is carbonate precipitation around picoplankton cyanobacterial cells observed in whitings of Bahamas. disintegration of calcareous algae and invertebrate skeletons, or byproducts of bioerosion. Many organisms such as algae, fungi, microbes, bacteria, sponges, etc., bore hard substrate for nourishment, protection from predators, or to survive from local hostile condition. These hard substrates include both skeletal and non-skeletal grains that lie on the sea floor. Once the holes drilled by microbes get vacated on death of microbes, those may get filled with micrite that can be quickly lithified. Repeated cycles of this process can transform an original grain, which may be skeletal or non-skeletal, into a micritic pelloid, and the process is known as micritization. Orthomicrites are in situ precipitation of aragonite or Mg calcite micrite cement on the sea floor, or in between allochems of carbonate sediments by inorganic or organically mediated processes. In most cases, the micrite precipitation is associated with metabolic processes of heterotrophs, chemotrophic bacteria, phototrophic cyanobacteria, and microbes. Now, we will be coming to the discussion that how we classify the carbonate rocks. The two classification schemes that are in operation for carbonate rocks, that is Dunham classification and Folk classification. Both these classification schemes were proposed simultaneously in the year 1962, but with different perspective. While the primary consideration in the Dunham classification is texture and relative proportions of carbonate mud and framework element within a carbonate rock, the Folk classification considers nature of the framework grains allochem, that is whether they are ooids, pelloid, bioclast, etc., and relative size of interframework carbonate, that is whether it is micritic mud size or sparite, that is sand size. In Dunham classification, as it is shown in the table, carbonates are primarily classified as mud supported, that is more than 50% mud, and grain supported less than 50% mud. Within mud supported carbonate, if grain content is less than 10%, then it is called mudstone, and if grains are more than 10% in volume, then the rock is referred to as wackestone. Further, in grain supported limestones, if interparticle mud content is 10 to 49%, then the rock is called packstone, and in cases where mud content is less than 10%, then it is referred to as grainstone. A bound stone is the carbonate in which original components are found together during deposition, that is carbonates of a coral colony with skeletal framework. Now, this classification scheme is most widely used in field, well log site, and hand specimen study. As such, the sequence in which this scheme classifies carbonate rocks, that is mudstone, wackestone, packstone, grainstone, indicates increase in depositional energy of the environment. Now, the table it shows all the variations in the carbonate rock that I have discussed. Now, in contrast to the Dunham classification, that is in regular field practice, the Folk classification in laboratory is laboratory based and dependent on microscopic observation. In Folk classification, nature of allochems, that is ooid, pelloid, intraclast or bioclast, and their relative proportion is identified under microscope, and accordingly the carbonate rock is named as oo, pale, intra-biomicrite if the ground mass is micrite, or oo, pale, intra-biosparite if the ground mass is sparitic. In case more than one type of allochems are present in the rock nomenclature, the allochems are arranged from lower to higher abundance. For example, if in a sparite carbonate rock modal abundance of allochems are ooid 6%, pelloid 9% and bioclast 14%, then the rock will be named as oo, pale, biosparite. In the figure, the Folk classification based on character of allochemical and orthochemical constituent that is shown. Now, however, carbonate rocks that form in transitional areas between siliciclastic and carbonate depositional realms are difficult to classify using the above mentioned classification scheme. Also, limestones that have undergone extensive dolomitization can only be classified by the use of size. Now, if we summarize whatever we have discussed, that is carbonate sediments, record an intricate biogeochemical system that operates in oceanic, lacustrine and freshwater system through the history of the earth. In contrast to siliciclastic sedimentation that is guided by physical properties of fluid, that is velocity, shear stress, carbonate precipitation is guided by water chemistry, that is EH/pH condition of water column. A number of ambient environmental parameters, that is light penetration, temperature, water salinity and turbidity play a fundamental role in carbonate precipitation. Although it is argued that carbon dioxide partial pressure primarily controls precipitation dissolution of carbonates in ocean water column, the very observation that the oceanic water is supersaturated with respect to all polymorphs of carbonate mineral, that is calcite, aragonite, clearly suggests the reluctance of inorganic carbonate precipitation in the ocean. It is believed that mostly carbonate precipitation in marine realm is a biochemical process, that is organisms play a profound role between carbonate precipitation. Metabolic byproducts of algae and microbes interact with surrounding seawater to produce carbonate supersaturation and thereby provoke precipitation. Mineralogically, carbonates assume different polymorphic variety, that is hexagonal calcite, low or high magnesium bearing, orthorhombic aragonite because of the size of the calcium ion which is 0.98 angstrom. Calcite solubility increases with magnesium content and solubility of aragonite in distilled water is equivalent with solubility of high Mg calcite having 12% magnesium carbonate. While allochems, both skeletal and non-skeletal, constitute framework of carbonate sediments, orthochems in form of micrite or sparite occupy the ground mass. The warm tropical ocean is most favorable for carbonate deposition and represented by chlorozoan association that include both skeletal, that is calcareous algae, and non-skeletal, that is ooite components, which is in contrast with high latitude, that is temperate and polar carbonates comprised only of skeletal components, that is called foramol association, that is mollusk, red algae, etc. The two carbonate classification schemes in operation, that is Dunham classification and Fock classification, take into purview relative abundance of allochemical and orthochemical components, that is by Dunham, and the nature of allochemical, that is ooite, paleoid, interclast, bioclast and orthochemical micrite, sparite component, that is in the Fock classification. That is all we have for you today. We hope you enjoyed this session. See you again. Till then, thank you and namaskar.